Britain's High Court spent 2 days this week hearing the arguments from both sides over whether Australian WikiLeaks founder Julian Assange should be allowed to mount a new appeal against his extradition to the United States. The two judges decided not to make a decision right away, though. They instead reserved their decision, and it's unclear when they'll make their ruling. There used to be a saying many moons ago that justice delayed was justice denied. At the pace our courts move these days, justice seems to be permanently denied. More agony for Julian and his family awaiting the outcome. Julian's brother and wife have been all over the media telling of their fears for his health and safety. Assange has spent 5 years in a British jail fighting this extradition. He's not in jail on any offence. He's just being held there at the request of the United States, our ally, while all of this moves through at a snail's pace through the UK's clogged and sloth-like courts. Before that 5 years, he spent 7 years virtually imprisoned in the Ecuadorian embassy in London until Ecuador kicked him out and reversed the original asylum they'd granted him. So he's been effectively locked up for 12 years, since he was 40. He's now 52. He fled to the Ecuadorian embassy because Sweden was trying to have him extradited there on rape charges that they later dropped and which appeared to be suspiciously flimsy. So why are the Americans after him? Well, because WikiLeaks published hundreds of thousands of secret military and diplomatic files on the US-led wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. The lawyers of the US government told the court this week that Assange had solicited the secret US files and in eventually publishing them, he indiscriminately published them without redactions, and that made his actions unprecedented and did not, therefore, constitute journalism. Well, the problem with that argument is that a whole bunch of the world's most respected newspapers, including the New York Times and the London Times, also published everything that WikiLeaks did. So it kind of was journalism. Assange's lawyers argue that he was exposing state-level crimes, something that is protected conduct under UK law. They say the US charges are political and that he's being prosecuted for engaging in ordinary journalistic practice of obtaining and publishing classified information. They also argued that the prison sentence he faces in the US is excessive. This prosecution by the Americans is being brought by them under the 1917 Espionage Act. It's a law which has never before been used in relation to the publishing of classified information. So it sure seems political. The strongest argument the US side has is that the publishing of the classified materials could have put the lives of many people working undercover for the US in Iraq and Afghanistan in trouble. But if that's such a concern, why aren't they also charging the newspapers who published the leaks? And what about the failures of the officials who should have been preventing such leaks? The person who was jailed in America for being the military source of the WikiLeaks, Chelsea Manning, is free. She had her sentence commuted by President Obama in 2017. I think Julian's paid enough of a price already, frankly, and it's time for this to be dropped by the US. As Elbow said, this can't go on forever. But why can't Elbow and the great Australian ambassador to Washington, Kevin Rudd, get just a little favour from their mate Biden on this one? It makes the AUKUS alliance look a little lopsided and weak too, doesn't it? Assange has effectively been locked away for more than 12 years, and he suffered significant physical and mental health effects. This is just state cruelty and abuse, and it makes it very hard for the liberal democratic West to maintain any moral high ground over real politically persecuting states like, I don't know, Russia. How can we complain about Navalny and other political prisoners in China, for example, when we do this sort of thing to our own?